Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. We're going to be taking the EZA LR Cell and Cell Juniors into ESBR. And this is where things should start to get quite fun with this EZA. Fortunately, of course, don't have the Dokkan Fest transforming cell, so if you guys have them, then you're probably going to have a little bit of a more fun time than I am using the LR Int Cell, who hopefully when he gets an EZA will have like damage reduction or guard or something, and then that way he can go in slot 1, and you know, you can either pick between the Dokkan Fest transforming cell and EZA cell and Cell Juniors, you know, at future point. So you know, not ideal right now, definitely not ideal, but you know, we're gonna roll with it. We're gonna roll with it. We don't currently have him on, of course, on rotation with the LR Fizz cell right now. Then that does mean we can build up 17 a bit, which I do not mind doing. And of course, rather than getting that 18, we're going to get that 12 key off and get that AoE. And don't forget as well, guys, don't forget to go down and drop a like on the video, and also subscribe if you are new, if you've been enjoying the content. We're getting supered immediately, so that Icarus was a sensible thing to do. Oh, we're getting supered again, so yeah, the Icarus was definitely a sensible thing to do. I was going to say we're going to get a third, but it was just 17's super attack animation. But yeah, for those of you who do have Dokkan Fest transforming cell, you'll have a little bit more of an easier time and a little bit more of a fun time than me, using, of course, the LR Int Cell, who really does need an EZA right now. But 3.7 mil attack stat on the 12 key. Big crit for 2.1, another big crit for 2.1, and an additional 12 key. That's two, like 3.7 million supers AoE'd. Look at him cleaning house. This is why I was looking forward to using him in ESBR so much. How much is he going to do with an Icarus? 122k? That's not bad. That's not bad, considering he only got one set of his defense from his passive from using a super attack. That's not bad. When you consider how much damage a lot of units can take in ESBR, even with an item active, that's not bad. Of course, we didn't get the extra defense of 60% because we didn't use an ultra super attack. But as I said, yeah, that is not bad at all. That is 122k with an Icarus active, not even a Whis, an Icarus active. That was pretty good. That was pretty good, but this is why I could not wait to use him in ESBR. Two AoE supers that did over 1 mil damage per enemy, and then the big 2.1 million crits. 3.7 mil on a super each time. It's crazy, and that's with literally next to no links active. We didn't even have the Int LR cell on rotation. As I said, if you do have transforming Dokkan cell, you know, you're gonna have a bit of an easier time. Unfortunately, Int cell he's okay, but he's aged quite a bit, and defensively in slot 1 he's not it, which is why I really do hope in the future, so you can either use Dokkan Fest transforming cell like perfectly in slot 2, or this guy in slot 2. Hopefully you get some damage reduction or guard in the future, because at least that way, you know, you have a better well-suited unit to slot 1, rather than, you know, Dokkan Fest transforming cell. It won't be too bad there, but he isn't perfectly crafted for it. And at least with an EZA Int cell, you know, if he does have damage reduction, or what's the other one? Guard. I don't know why I forgot about that. Guard. Then honestly, he would be great for slot 1. I want to go with the AoE again. I'm gonna go with the AoE again. I mean, if we get another additional, we're doing huge damage. I mean, we're getting supered again already as well. Good thing I used the Whis. We're going to get supered a second time as well. 17 cannot catch a break. 17 cannot. There we go. No damage though. Whis active as well. But I mean, literally, first battle and EZA LR Fizz Cell and Cell Juniors are looking crazy good. This is where they're at their pinnacle. Because, of course, since you're facing so many enemies in ESB, unfortunately not right now in this battle because there's only 2 enemies, but he does get additional key +1 and attack +30% per existing enemy. Which means in the first phase, who was we fighting? I can't remember if it's 4 or 5 enemies. But, you know, if it's 5, you'll get 150% extra attack. 150% extra attack on top of the 120 he gets at the start of turn. And honestly, this is where he's going to be shining. It really is. I really do hope the 16 has some guard. He does have 200k defense. I don't know, we do have the Whis active as well, and the tech. I always forget these guys' names, apart from Rildo. I Forget the big robot's name though. But he's stunned, so actually we're kind of fine in that case. Let's hit Roda with that type advantage with 13, but yeah, honestly, he is an SBR king. And to be fair, it doesn't even matter if we had guard active, we still have the Whis. With 16 chunky defense, but yeah, this is where the LR Cell and Cell Juniors EZA is going to thrive. They were already an amazing SBR unit. But now with the EZA, it's just, they are ridiculously good here. Ridiculously good. Like, I mean, you've seen the damage they've done already. Yeah, we missed out on the extra 60% defense because we didn't do an ultra super attack, but 4 or 5 enemies, you know, you get in 30% per existing enemy and key +1 per existing enemy, which means, you know, if you're facing 4, you know, you've got, what? An extra 120% attack. You're facing 5, you get an extra 50% attack. And he's putting out 3.7 million supers, and he got an additional as well, and he's hitting 2.1 mil crits and over 1 mil damage on each of them. See, now we have all of his links active, which is great, but it's just this guy. I mean, we do have quite a majority of our health, which means we do have almost 200k defense, but yeah, I mean, this guy's still stunned, which is good, but I kind of wish this guy was stunned because he has type advantage against the robot. Again, I don't remember the name, so, you know, just the robot will do. I don't really want to use an item either. You know, I'm going to get myself some extra defense in this scenario just because I'm not using an item and we have type disadvantage against Rodo. So I've gone for the Ultra Super Attack to get extra 60% defense. Yeah, that's why in LR Cell really does need an EZA, which again hopefully has damage reduction or guard, so we can actually be more of a slot 1 unit. Because that would be perfect. 5.6 mil. This is going to be big damage, and again, I've done this to get the extra 60% defense against Rodo with type disadvantage right now. Big 3.2 mil crit, love that. I mean, again, that's not bad. You know, we did have the extra 60% defense, you know, from performing a super attack, which is multiplicative, and then we got the extra 60% defense because it was an ultra super attack. And 32k on a basic with no item active while having type disadvantage is actually pretty good. So that means Cell's defense, I think from what I remember I've been told, after supering on Ultra, after getting an Ultra super attack, I think he's on like 400k defense after super, maybe 450k. Which, having that type of defense after super is pretty good, especially if you do the 18 key, and taking 32k on a basic in ESBR, especially against 2 enemies where, you know, the less enemies, the more damage they do, typically. With no item active, 32k on a basic's pretty good if I do say so myself. That is pretty good indeed, I'm not gonna lie, that is pretty good. I knew he would be a monster when it came to Super Battle Road, but I didn't think he'll be this good. Honestly, he is an SBR king with how good he is in this environment. The amount of damage he can do to multiple enemies at once is ridiculous. If you need to get an Ultra Super attack off, just to be safe for that extra defense, or maybe, you know, there's only 1 enemy left or 2, he can do that as well. But, you know, when you're facing an abundance of enemies in Super Battle Road, this is where this man is going to thrive with that extra attack plus 30% per existing enemy. Honestly, he is insanely good. Again, I know the only downside to his EZA isn't really his, like, it's not a downside to his kit himself. It's just a shame, you know, when it comes to running him on rotation with ideally the Dokkan Fest transforming cell, that neither of them are, you know, incredibly suited for slot 1. You know, the Dokkan Fest transforming cell would probably have a better time in slot 1 than this guy because he does have a little bit more defense at the start of turn and also has the evade. But it's just a shame one of them isn't more well suited to slot 1, because then this rotation would literally be almost perfect. I mean, it should be perfect. I mean, the cell, it's got to be perfect, but still, it is a shame one of them isn't more suited to slot 1. Otherwise, this rotation would be insane. It's still a very good rotation. Unfortunately, I have to run it with the LR int cell. Really? We're leaving Rildo left with a pix of health? So extra. But as I said, hopefully eventually when he does get an EZA with the transforming AGL Gohan, hopefully the int cell will get some form of damage reduction or guard. Because at least that way, he can actually be a slot 1 unit, and then depending on maybe what event you're doing, how many enemies you're taking, or who you have and who you want to bring, then you can either bring LR Fizz, the EZA LR Fizz Cell and Cell Juniors in slot 2, or the Dokkan Fest Transforming Cell if you do have him. But then we're going to have to wait for that. So fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Cross your fingers with me. Hopefully, eventually, he will get an EZA where he is ideal for slot 1. That's the only downside. There's not even really a downside to this cell's EZA. This cell's EZA is ridiculously good. Kind of just, you know, it's just kind of a downside in general. Kind of a downside in general. I am going to go, I think we're going to get the Dokkan attack off. So I've gone with an Usher. We're going to get the 18 key off with you. We're going to make sure to get your 12 key off. That way you can hit everyone. Rildo does have type advantage, but still we're going to hit everyone. So we're facing 3 enemies, which means we have an extra 90% on attack. Not a lot, but 90% on top of 120% is 210% attack at the start of turn. And he's also going to be recovering 12% HP for us as well, which is, you know, it's not a lot, but it's you know, it's helpful. No Dokkan attack. I was actually wrong. We're going to get the Dokkan attack next turn. That's okay. That's okay. I'll just use another Rusher. But still, yeah. He's honestly ridiculously good here. It's just... I mean, it's just the help he has. As if you're using the new cell, you're gonna have an easier time in ESBR than me, whereas I have to use the LR int cell. But honestly, he's doing so well. The amount of damage he does to all enemies is honestly ridiculous, and especially if you have dupes in him, if he gets an additional off, I mean, you've seen it, 3.7 mil. Especially if there's quite a few enemies, 3.7 mil twice, while hitting over 2 milli crits, honestly ridiculous. Oh, I attacked the wrong enemy, that's my fault. To be fair, he's got the Dokkan attack anyway, it doesn't really matter. We're going to attack... You're probably going to be dead, so we'll attack Rildo. And then 13 can attack Rildo as well. This has generally been quite a breeze of a run, if I'm being completely honest. It's been a breeze of a run. And that's mainly because of the EZA LR Cell and Cell Juniors. Like, EZA, when it comes to Super Battle Road, when it comes to a Super Battle Road environment, EZA Margin Vegeta, I mean, Margin Vegeta was already ridiculously good in terms of how much damage he could do on an AoE, which made him, you know, viable to take, even though he had no defense. And then he got his EZA, which was, it was alright. You know, he had some defense, which obviously he had none beforehand. And it made him even more viable for SBR environments. And he was ridiculously good if you got his 12 key off, because his damage output on an AoE, to hit everyone with that amount of damage that he could, was insane. Now, imagine him, but a little bit of extra defense. A little bit of extra chunk, especially if you go with the 18 key, and then, oh, if you go for an 18 key and then get an additional, you're getting the best of both worlds, because then you can get the 60% defense twice, and then you can hit the 12 key as well and hit an AoE. But getting that 60% defense on super attack in general, being multiplicative, as I said, it's kind of like Margin Vegeta. It's not as much damage as Margin Vegeta. It's still great damage output from Cell, but it's not as much. But it's a little bit of extra defense, which makes him a little bit safer to use. I mean, there you go. We absolutely cleaned house in ESBR. Let me know what you think of him down in the comments. Honestly, he is insane. I just wish there was a better slot 1 unit for one of the cells, but we'll have to see in the future with Incel. I'll see you next video, guys, and peace.